I'm Clint Walker, and you're watching GVTV News.
Thanks, Clint. I'm Randy Hansen. In today's world news headlines, U.S. convenes the most diverse Congress in history. The House re-elects Boehner as Speaker despite recent criticism. The gun control bill introduced on first day of Congress. And out of Yemen, U.S. drone attack kills 3 in area devastated by prior attack. And suicide bomber kills 27 Shiites in Iraq. And Venezuela's Chavez suffering severe lung infection. A Pakistani girl shot by Taliban is released from UK hospital. Google dodges antitrust charges after federal probe. An international child porn investigation rescues scores of young victims. New U.S. immigration rules to ease separation of families. And out of Texas, protesters launch new tree blockade against Keystone XL pipeline. And First Nation chief enters 25th day of hunger strike amid growing Idle No More movement. In Bangladesh, garment workers stage mass hunger strike over pay conditions. And Obama disputes limits on Gitmo prisoner transfers in NDAA. And Time Warner Cable criticizes for dropping current TV after purchase by Al Jazeera. In California court, state rape law only protects married women. And a report says U.S. states enacted second highest number of abortion restrictions in 2012. GVTV News is broadcast on Grass Valley Television, a division of Rural Counties Television Network, whose focus is on community involvement. We also air on NCTV. But before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who support your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us. In today's first world news story, the U.S. Congress opened its 113th session Thursday, swearing in a record number of women and people of color. New members included new African-American now serving in the U.S. Senate, Tim Scott of South Carolina, who was the first black Republican senator in more than 30 years. Congress now has a record number of women in both chambers, 81 in the House and 20 in the Senate. The House narrowly re-elected John Boehner as House Speaker, despite criticism from party conservatives over his handling a so-called fiscal cliff. New Congress faces another looming showdown over the debt ceiling and possible spending cuts delayed under the fiscal cliff deal. Boehner addressed the debt Thursday in his opening speech. And he said, "As Speaker, I pledge to listen and to do all I can to help all of you carry out the oath of office that we are all about to take. Because of our hearts, we know it's wrong to pass this debt onto our kids and grandkids, and we are willing and truly willing to make this problem right." House Speaker Boehner faced a massive backlash this week after initially canceling the vote on relief for Superstorm Sandy. The vote is expected to vote on the first round of aid. And this was yesterday. Gun control advocates introduced legislation on the first day of the new Congress to ban high-capacity ammunition magazines used in recent massacres, including the one at Sandy Hook Elementary last month. Democratic Representative Carolyn McCarthy of New York said this in a statement, "These assault magazines help put the masses in mass shootings, and anything we can do to stop this proliferation will save lives in America." McCarthy, who lost her husband in a shooting in Long Island Railroad, her son was also severely injured, introduced the ammunition ban with fellow Democratic Representative Diana DeGette of Colorado. Gun control supporters are hoping an apparent shift in attitudes after 20 children and 6 adults were killed in Sandy Hook Elementary, as well as the shooter's mother, who was killed first in her home might pave the way to reform. In the latest potential sign of shift, Republican Representative Peter King in New York questioned the ownership of assault weapons during an appearance in MSNBC. Peter King said, "I really don't know why people need assault weapons. I'm not a hunter, but I understand people who want. I understand people who live in rough neighborhoods or have small businesses and want to protect themselves. But an assault weapon, listen, I'm sure 99% of the people with assault weapons are good Americans, but to give the potential to a mass murderer who would be able to out-arm the police would carry out the worst devastation." In Yemen, a U.S. drone strike has killed 3 suspected al-Qaeda militants, including a local commander. Thursday's attack occurred in an area devastated by a previous strike that killed 11 people, including 3 children. Last month, the United States admitted the first time it had carried out the September attack in Raqqa after the Yemeni government initially tried to claim credit. According to Washington Post, militants in surrounding areas have gained more recruits for their fight against U.S.-backed Yemeni government since the attack occurred. In southern Iraq, a suicide bomber has killed at least 27 Shiites and wounded dozens of others at a bus station. Authorities say the bomber drove into the crowded station as pilgrims were returning from a religious event. Sorry about the background noise, but some people never seem to be able to control it. Venezuela has released new information on the medical status of President Hugo Chavez, raising concerns that leader's health may be failing after recent cancer surgery in Cuba. Ernesto Villegas, Venezuela's Minister of Communication and Information, made the remark Thursday and said, "After the delicate surgery of this last December 11th, Comandante Chavez has faced complications as a result of severe lung infection. Infection has caused breathing insufficiency that requires Commander Chavez to comply strictly with medical treatment." A Pakistani schoolgirl who was shot in the head by the Taliban has been released from the hospital in Britain. Malala Yousafzai, I don't know if I said that right, is expected to return to hospital in coming weeks for reconstructive surgery to her skull. She is targeted by militants after campaigning for the rights of girls. Google has won a major victory in the United States after dodging charges from the Federal Trade Commission over how it arranges search results. FTC concluded a 2-year investigation of Google, saying the search giant had not violated antitrust or anti-competition statutes. The decision allows Google to continue elevating its own services in search results, raising concerns that the company could exercise massive power over Internet. Google performs 70% of all U.S. search inquiries. U.S. immigration authorities say 245 people have been arrested as part of a weeks-long international investigation into child pornography. A score of child victims were rescued from past current exploitation, including 110 victims in the United States and 13 abroad. Many of the victims were living with their abusers. The Obama administration has unveiled new rules allowing undocumented immigrants to avoid lengthy separations from the U.S. family members while applying for legal status. According to U.S. policy forces, immigrants who entered the country without authorization to return to their native countries for visas then bars them from re-entering the United States as long as a decade. Starting in March, family members who can demonstrate extreme hardship if separated from U.S. family members may be eligible for a waiver, allowing them to re-enter the country more quickly. New policy could potentially spare hundreds of thousands of families from being kept apart. New scientific research has shed further doubt on claims about the environmental benefits of natural gas drilling known as fracking. Researchers with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and the University of Colorado say methane may be escaping from gas sites at much higher rates than previously thought. Data suggests that at least 9% of total methane produced may be leaking. Methane is many times more powerful than carbon at contributing to global warming. In Texas, opponents of the Keystone XL oil pipeline have set up a new tree blockade in the path of the pipeline's southern leg. Protesters say they have shielded 2 dump platforms with a series of lifelines that could potentially stop protesters from 50 to 60 feet in the air if disturbed. The blockade outside Dimble, Texas, follows the conclusion of a months-long blockade against the controversial pipeline near the Texas city of Winsboro. The Idle No More movement, launched by First Nation in Canada, is continuing to draw international support amid a hunger strike by Ottawa-Piscat's Chief Teresa Spence. Spence is the 25th day of her strike in teepee outside Ottawa's Parliament, where she has been demanding a meeting with Prime Minister Stephen Harper. On Thursday, Spence rejected a proposal by First Nations leaders to meet with Harper in a few weeks' saying her failing health require action within 72 hours. Protests in Canada began an controversial budget bill that has been since expanded into a mass movement for political transformation, Indigenous rights, and environmental justice. Hundreds of Bangladesh garment workers, most of them women, staged a massive hunger strike in the capital of Dhaka to demand safer working conditions and better pay. Factory fire at the Bangladesh plant that made goods for Walmart killed at least 111 workers in November, marking the country's worst industrial accident. Head of the National Garment Workers Federation, Amarul Haq Amin, condemned the retail giant and said it is already proved that this devastating fire, the management and Walmart, they are responsible. In this fire, we actually lost 112 garment workers, and there are our brothers and sisters. But unfortunately, until today, the management in Walmart did not get arrested by the government. So our demand is immediate arrest of the factory Walmart of Tarzine Fashions. And White House has released a statement attached by President Obama to the controversial National Defense Authorization Act that disputes the law's restrictions on transferring prisoners out of Guantanamo. Obama signed the NDAA despite opposing the limits on prisoner transfers. In a statement, Obama claimed he has constitutional power to override these restrictions. Obama made a similar claim when he signed last year's version of the bill that is still not delivered on promises to close Guantanamo. New York Times is criticizing the decision by Time Warner Cable to stop carrying current TV after the channel was purchased by Al Jazeera. In an editorial, the paper called the move unfortunate, saying it could block access to an important news source. Time Warner dropped current TV within hours of its purchase by Al Jazeera, saying in a statement, "We are removing the service as quickly as possible." But the distributor appears to change course Thursday following a wave of criticism, saying it would keep an open mind about possibly carrying Al Jazeera in the future. New York Times reports Vice President Al Gore, who owned 20% of current TV, made $100 million off the company's $500 million sale. A California appeals court has overturned the rape conviction of a man who impersonated a sleeping woman's boyfriend, saying the 19th century law only protects married women from such attacks. Julio Morales has been sentenced to 3 years in prison after allegedly pretending to be a woman's boyfriend and initiating sex with her while she slept. A judge ruled, has the man committed rape because of the historical anomalies in the law and the statutory definition of rape? The answer is no, even though if a woman has been married and the man had impersonated her husband, the answer would be yes. The law in question dates back to 1872. New data shows 2012 has another historic year for restrictions on reproductive rights. According to Guttmacher Institute, U.S. state enacted the second highest number of anti-choice restrictions in history. Last year's 43 abortion restrictions still marked a drop from the record 92 provisions enacted in 2011. A total state enacted 122 provisions relating to reproductive health and rights in 2012. Not a single one of these laws improved access to abortion, family planning, or comprehensive sex education. Pioneering feminist historian Gerda Lerner has died at the age of 92. Lerner has published multiple books on women and feminism over a decades-long academic career. She's widely credited for having earned recognition for women's history as a valid academic pursuit. In an interview with the author Elizabeth DeBold, Lerner discussed her early days in Sarah Lawrence College, where she established the first women's history graduate program in the early 70s. And she said, "When I proposed to teach a course in women's history, they said, 'Who needs it? We're a women's college. Also, everything we do is women's history.' And I said, 'Not at all, because you're always telling it from a male point of view and from male gaze at women.' The real story is, despite these hundreds of years of discrimination and oblivion, women persisted that they have a story, and we had to win every step of the way. We had to win the right to tell this. So rule number one, nobody gave us anything." Lerner died Wednesday in Madison, Wisconsin. That's it for World News today. Now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us.
Soundcheck Music Center, the Rock and Roll Connection. We have guitars, amps, drum equipment, sound accessories, lessons, and repairs. We are located at 671 Maltman Drive, Grass Valley. 530-272-7236, open 7 days a week.
No one needs anyone. fun, they don't even just pretend. John is an American. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't.
That's right, it's time for the police blotter. Pictures in the blotter not from these actual events, but used for visual aid only. These public records are obtained from daily logs issued from Nevada County Law Enforcement. Grass Valley Police Department on Wednesday, 7:48 a.m. A man from 200 block of Dorsey Drive reported a burglary with entry made through a window while he was sleeping. 10:32 a.m. caller from 400 block of Kate Hayes Street reported a burglary to a vehicle December 31st. At 1 p.m., a caller from 200 block of North Church Street reported a physical fight which was mediated. And 1:10 p.m., a caller from 700 block of Old Tunnel Road reported identity theft. And 2:11, a caller from 100 block of West McKnight Way reported fire had been purposely set behind the store. It was extinguished and extra patrols were scheduled. 3:27 p.m., a caller from business 100 block of West Burial Drive reported theft of a wedding ring from a locker. At 5:15 p.m., a man from 100 block of Neal Street reported trying to detain a shoplifting suspect while with a jacket full of stolen items. Suspect fled. 5:54 p.m., caller from business 700 block of Sutton Way reported a theft. And 6:29 p.m., caller from South Church and Neal Street reported a possible drunk driver who could barely walk, possibly passed out in a vehicle. At 6:53 p.m., caller from 300 block of Bennett Street reported hearing screaming and crying and hearing someone say another person punched a child. No one was located. At 9 p.m., a caller from East Main Street and Hughes Road reported several people who seemed to be drunk under the influence, with a woman screaming who looked like she had been beat up. She had got into a taxi. Be on the lookout advisory was issued for a man who reportedly assaulted her and stole her purse. 9:29 p.m., a caller from 700 block of Amber Loop reported a large gray parrot in the front deck. Owner of the African gray was located and the parrot was returned. 11:23 p.m., a woman from the hospital reported she was being held against her will. Her husband had said someone needed to come and convince her nothing suspicious was going on. Nevada County Sheriff's Office on Wednesday, 9:20 a.m. A caller from 19,000 block of Buckboard Road reported trespassing over several nights. 11:10 a.m., a woman from 20,000 block of Pleasant Valley Road reported her neighbor's dogs were chasing her animals around. 9:39 a.m., a man from 16,000 block of Old Washington Road reported theft of his vehicle. At 10:53 a.m., a caller from 10,000 block of Puritan Road reported a residential burglary. 11:39 a.m., a caller from Highway 20 and Go Flat Road reported a man lying on the side of the highway. He was moving on. Several callers reported similar issue that was made at 1:23 p.m. 12:02 p.m., a man from 18,000 block of, or a caller from Spring Valley Drive reported fraud via internet. 12:56 p.m., a caller from Rough and Ready and Pioneer Roads reported vandalism and tampering with mail. 3:39 p.m., a caller from Highway 20 and Willow Valley Road reported erratic driver swerving all over the road. 4:29 p.m., a caller from 20,000 block of Clydesdale Road reported theft of cable from a solar system. 5:03 p.m., a caller from 11,000 block of McCourtney Road reported a rotary booth had been broken into again. And 5:18 p.m., a be on the lookout advisory was issued for Penn Valley man who had cut his ankle monitor off. He was arrested in Elko. The ankle monitor was recovered. 7:24 p.m., a woman from 13,000 block of Highway 49 reported a person attacked her and took her medical card at a homeless camp. No assault was found to have occurred. At 7:46 p.m., a caller from 11,000 block of LeBar Meadow Road reported hearing 2 gunshots. On Thursday, 1:43 a.m., a caller from 14,000 block of Gas Canyon Road reported a pickup truck driving back and forth for an hour. Person was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence and driving on a suspended license. At 7:24 a.m., a woman from 15,000 block of Metcalf Road reported a Rottweiler chased her horse. She eventually chased the dog off with pepper spray. In Nevada City Police Department on Wednesday, 2:34 p.m., a caller from 300 block of Broad Street reported a theft. At 3:09 p.m., a caller from 400 block of Broad Street reported a fraud. At 5:46 p.m., a caller from 400 block of Nimrod Street reported a man sitting on a bench, yelling and screaming. And that's it for the blotter today. Now thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. Christopher's Old World Deli and Catering Company has brought its delicious food and service downtown Grass Valley. Like desserts? They got 'em. You like international style lunches? They got 'em. Christopher's Deli and Catering for parties, get-togethers, weddings, or whatever. Open 7 days a week. In today's local news headlines, NCTV gains another executive director. Nevada County Television has returned to the past to administer the public broadcast station until it finds a more permanent executive director. Lou Sitzer, who was the executive director of NCTV in 2004, was appointed as an interim executive director by the station's board of directors, effective immediately. Lou proposed to the board to serve in a voluntary capacity at the media center. His focus will be on building the organization, including our flagship operation NCTV, back to full strength through fund development and increased community programming, the board said. Sitzer, who helped build and direct the station before leaving in 2009 to care for his late wife, Edie, will serve in a volunteer capacity, he told NCTV members in an email Thursday. Lou will have the full authority of a paid executive director, including day-to-day operational authority, plus the full scope of typical executive director responsibilities, the board said. The board is very pleased to have someone with Lou's experience to step into the leadership position and will work closely with him to move the organization forward. Sitzer, replaced by Paul Menicucci, who was forced out in March 2012 as NCTV moved into the Nevada City Tech Park on Providence Mine Road, a location subleased from Grass Valley USA, formerly Grass Valley Group. Previously, NCTV, also known as the Nevada County Digital Media Center, had operated out of the old Armory building off Zion Street in Nevada City. Menicucci's departure after 2 years in the post stirred a huge controversy among the members, producers, and the board of directors, which more recently saw a shift in its own makeup as 5 new board members came aboard. I was also thrown out with the bathwater on that process, and also Gail Woodman. All the original plans for the move, which were orchestrated by Paul Menicucci, came to a halt, and the station went up in smoke. After this process, the media center hired Emma Santa at the end of March, and its part-time interim executive director for a 6-month period. Sitzer returns, ends a period lacking an executive director as the organization settles into a new state-of-the-art facility, a process aided by $18,000 fund drive in October. Sitzer's vision is to bring together nonprofits, arts, media, government, and school to meet the needs of our community, the board said. I'd like to build a vibrant and diverse collaboration that features the many talents that we have in our community, Sitzer said in a statement. GVTV wishes Lou well in his new endeavor and will continue to produce our diverse shows for public access television in Nevada County at this time. We have tried to help in the transition process, but have been shunned by the new board and the organization. Because of public access rules, our show will continue to broadcast even with our different perspective of the future of this station. That's it for local news today. We would like to thank Amy Goodman, Reuters, Associated Press, Ubinet, Sierra Foothills Report, the Union, local law enforcement, and others for the sourcing of our news, and you for watching. Remember, we are the only visual video news media in Nevada County, and we are free for you to watch 7 days a week. If you have local stories and would like to have them aired on our news, please email us with a limit the story to 750 words, and if you have pictures, please include them in the email to grassvalleytelevision@gmail.com. Please include some type of contact information for verification of facts. You can watch this broadcast on Comcast Cable, NCTV, Channel 11 in Nevada County, 8 a.m., 3 p.m., 7:30 p.m., Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m., Saturday and 8 p.m. Sunday, and Suddenlink Channel 16 in Truckee and Alta-Sierra, same times. We also are streamed on the internet, NCTV's Digital Media Center website at nevadacountytv.org and our website, gvtv.org. And don't forget Grass Valley Television that plays 24/7 on the net, grassvalleytelevision.com. We post to Facebook, YouTube, blip.tv, and many other sites, and have RSS feed and video podcast on iTunes. Just search under video podcast for GVTV News. Grass Valley Television also videotapes local events around Nevada County. If you have a need for video, you can contact us for more info at grassvalleytelevision@gmail.com or 530-362-8889. This show produced by Grass Valley Television of Rural Counties Television Network. We hope you will stay tuned to us for this next season, as we're going to spice up the news in the future. You can always email us ideas and comments, and if you like us on Facebook, we like that. News Player can be embedded on your site, or you can go to our sites, which we had already mentioned. Due to the lack of underwriters this year, we will be doing 3 shows a week, playing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday editions. We should be expanding when we get more community support.